So, hi everyone, it's Jade Bolden, and I'm here with Ben Bolden and our cousin Debbie Gordon.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, it's a special evening because Debbie is visiting us, but she is also an expert. She's a doula, and she's very passionate about pregnancies, birth, and babies. And we just want her to be on our call and be recorded and share her love and passion with everyone. So before we go on a little bit, I just want you to know that we have a free ebook here. So if you've got friends, family that are expecting or hoping to expect soon, or you know, they've already had a baby and they want to know what oils to help them, this is a basic getting started with essential oils and pregnancy book. Okay, so you can download that. And learn a little bit, but we do have a lot more information on our website, and Debbie, she has a lot of information and knowledge too, so that's why we have her here. Alrighty, so first of all, we want to just highlight a few topics here. We want to help prepare your body for pregnancy. Talk about how to support you during pregnancy, how to relax during labor and birth, and then how to keep you and your baby healthy afterwards. So some of our friends are learning it for their kids and their grandkids, and you know, so this is really important information. Alrighty, so let's get started. I'll introduce the topic, and Debbie, you take over from here.
Okay.
Yep, so let's prepare our body for pregnancy. Okay.
First off, what I want to really emphasize is the fact that
Yep, we'll switch.
You know, as pregnant mamas, we have a pretty big responsibility for these babies we're growing in our womb, and it's really important that we support mothers during this time of transition. This is a really new chapter if they're having their first baby, and if they're not having their first baby, there's even greater and greater responsibility that we want to just lend a hand of support and help. And so how a woman carries a baby, how a woman gives birth, changes who she is forever. And I'll bet those women who are joining us on this call tonight, if you think back to your birth, the births of your children, you can probably remember really vivid details of that experience, maybe of the pregnancy, maybe not, but of the birth, perhaps. I am the 7th child in 13 children, and you ask my mother, who is 83 years old, about each of her births, and she will tell you details, even though in other ways of her mind she is somewhat forgetful. She will be able to remember the details of every birth. So how a woman gives birth is really crucial for how she steps in to this calling of motherhood, and it's a gift. And so we need to really support women in this experience. So preparing our body for pregnancy is really important. You know what, we don't give enough attention. We plan more for our wedding than we do for our baby, our pregnancies and births. And we have to fix that. We have to fix that, because how we step into pregnancy with regards to our health and well-being is really critical with how we carry this baby and how we nourish this baby and how good we feel. And so it makes a difference. And so keeping ourselves clean with essential oils and nutrients is really vital. And so we want to feed ourselves with nutritionally dense food before, during, and after. As we provide breast milk for this baby after birth, we've got to be providing nourishment to our bodies, or we pay the price. Our babies typically get what they need, but they rob from our stores.
Yep, so during pregnancy, that's what you taught me. During pregnancy, the mom gives everything to the baby first, and then we take what's left over.
And we want to make sure we've got enough for both of us, right? And so if we don't have enough, we pay a price, and we don't feel good, we're sickly.
You know, people have gum problems, teeth problems, vision problems, you know, you name it, it just keeps going. And that's a sign of nutritional deficiency for the mom.
Indeed. So it's really crucial that we go into pregnancy healthy, and that we're eating well, and that we're eating well all during that pregnancy and beyond as we provide breast milk. So that's really good. And the Lifelong Vitality Pack, I'm just going to be really frank with you. It is Debbie Gordon's belief that this is the finest
Mine too.
prenatal vitamin that a pregnant mama can take. And we shouldn't just wait for pregnancy to take it. It's not just a prenatal vitamin. It's an every day vitamin for every adult, and I'm going to say children. My children are old enough. My youngest is 11 years old, and they're old enough to swallow capsules. And as soon as my children were old enough to swallow capsules, we moved away from the chewable vitamins and we got into the Lifelong Vitality Pack. And my youngest children take one of each. But we're tired of talking about pregnancy. But the Lifelong Vitality Pack is really a great supplement. Yeah. So now when we're talking about pregnancy, we cannot not talk about nutrition. And we're never too old or too knowledgeable to improve our nutrition. Every one of us could probably find many ways every day that we could reach for a better source of nutrition than what we're reaching for. As you talked tonight about tangerine, you know, I got to thinking about a couple nights ago when I had a small snack bag of spicy Cheetos. It's my vice. I love spicy Cheetos. But what nourishment did that give me? Absolutely, positively none. And it probably detracted from my serotonin levels. It didn't during the time I was eating them. I was full of joy. But at any rate, you know, we really do need to replace whites, white rice, potatoes, white flour, white sugar. We need to replace the whites with color. Now, years ago when I was really passionate about this, my oldest, who is now 22 years old, and I've been working with child women for more than 3 decades, but Jason would say, what about cauliflower, Mom? And so we make mashed potatoes from time to time with cauliflower, and it's delicious.
We do that too.
And so the cauliflower is okay. It's a vegetable. But if you really look at the whites, they're usually processed foods.
Yeah.
And so you really want to stay away from those processed foods that really don't serve us with any nutrition and actually put a greater stress on our bodies in so many ways. And so replace whites with colors. Replace the white flour with whole grain flour. Replace the white rice with brown rice. Replace the white potatoes with yams and squashes. We had that for dinner tonight, and I loved it. So we made spaghetti with spaghetti squash. What better way
and you're saying to vary your food.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it has different nutrients.
Yeah. So when I say cook via the rainbow, I'm really talking about using your creativity. There we go, tangerine, another use for tangerine. Yeah. Using your creativity to get as many colors in the rainbow each day as possible. So as many fruits and vegetables as you can get in. When people ask me my recipes, I cook, I prepare salsa, I prepare soups by color. And if it doesn't have all the varieties of the color in it pretty much, then it's not ready to serve yet. And so I really try to do that. And then your purples and reds, you're going to get largely with the berries. Reds from tomatoes perhaps, but try really hard every day to get some of the colors. And I tease people all the time, this does not mean buying a bag of Skittles, okay? It's really eating fresh, whole foods by the rainbow.
Yeah, or Fruit Loops.
Yeah, Fruit Loops don't count either. That's right. And so really we can do a whole lot better in our nutrition, all of us. Rachel, welcome, Rachel. And so now when we talk about pregnancy, we want to increase our protein intake to about 80 to 100 grams a day. Now I want you ladies and men to just think about what you ate today. And I want you to play around with the idea of not necessarily calorie counting, but nutrient counting. How many grams of protein do you get in the course of a day? And as men and women of adult age, if we're not pregnant, we don't need that much. But when we are building a baby, for those 9 months, we need to double our protein intake for the most part. And it really takes some effort to get 80 to 100 grams. And when you're having morning sickness, most of the time, ladies and gentlemen, most of the time that is related to insufficient protein intake. And the first thing we reach for when we feel nauseous is what?
Carbs.
It's a carbohydrate. It's a saltine cracker or a graham cracker or something with carbs, and it really does not serve us well. It gives us immediate gratification, immediate something in our mouth, and maybe bring that blood sugar up a little bit. But long term, it doesn't serve us. And so we really need to focus on getting more. We can eat the carbs with the protein, but we really need to focus that things that go into our mouth need to have protein content in addition to carbohydrate content. And that's really key. And so increasing that protein is really important. And we can stave off late-term pregnancy surprises, such as that elevated blood pressure. I had a text just yesterday or the day before from a family friend who's pregnant with her first baby, about 27 weeks, and she says she's really starting to swell up. And when we have a lot of swelling and a lot of water retention, most of the time, it is protein insufficiency. And that's a really critical factor. And so today, she posted her birthday meal. What was her birthday meal? She went to Olive Garden. and she had a plate of pasta. And it probably, I don't know what was in that pasta, but all I saw from the picture was pasta. And I'm thinking, oh, please increase your protein intake. Because the carbs do not serve us when we're building a baby. And so we can get into those, what I call late-term pregnancy surprises, which end up in, early induction, early delivery, and complications that are unnecessary if we nourish our bodies well. So this is one of my real big deals. And along with that, nourishment of protein, the Terrazyme is an invaluable resource to help break down that protein so we don't have sluggish bowels or that feeling of fullness. Yeah, we absorb it much better when we break it down into micronutrients. Then it can really be absorbed to build this baby, and we don't feel that sickness or that heartburn or any of those discomforts that come in that third trimester. And so I say get on that Terrazyme right now from the get-go, so we know that we're nourishing our bodies and our babies' bodies well by breaking these whole foods down into micronutrients. So those are really key.
So this is your foundation, isn't it? Just yeah. So you want to talk about that, those daily?
Yeah. So the daily suggestions, the Lifeline Vitality Pack, 2 of each of those bottles, twice a day, morning and night, with morning and afternoon or evening meals would be my suggestion. Some people, if they have struggle with added energy when they're taking, especially the Alpha CRS, then they can take it midday. They can take it morning and midday. Breaking it up into half doses is really helpful to get it down. It's a lot of capsules to take at one time, but it's really needful. Yeah, it's really needful. Adding lemon oil to your drinking water. Boy, I say do that throughout pregnancy. When somebody, again, has a lot of water retention, I'm going to recommend lemon in their water. Yeah, more water and lemon oil in their water. And in pregnancy, I want you drinking water. Not soda, not juices, not coffee, not teas necessarily. Of course, I'm okay with if that's your vice, but what, you really are nourishing the body for 2. And when we're drinking caffeinated drinks, that's a whole nother conversation in constricting the vessels so that it really does impair circulation to the uterine muscle. And so I say, herbal teas, if you want a hot drink in the morning, grab an herbal tea, but stay away from the nicotine, stay away from the caffeine, because it constricts the vessels, and then we're in trouble with circulation through the placenta to the baby. And so those are suggestions for a reason.
And that's the foundation. Of course, you can add more things to whatever you need at that time.
When we're talking about Terrazyme, for instance, if we take Terrazyme on an empty stomach, it promotes repair and production of connective tissue. It rebuilds connective tissue. And everything about pregnancy involves connective tissue. Anything that's soft and supple in your bodies, in your joints, in your ligaments, in your tendons and whatnot, that's all connective tissue. All the stockinette that holds you're building a body. And all the stockinette that holds your internal organs together in the abdominal cavity is all connective tissue. So taking that Terrazyme before bed on an empty stomach, of course, I do recommend pregnant women have something with protein content before going to bed, so they don't wake up sick. They have that protein, that long-term storage through the night.
Those are good tips.
Yeah, so that's really important. So I don't know that a pregnant woman should ever have an empty stomach, but 2 hours without food is an empty stomach, in my opinion, and that's a really good time to also consider some more Terrazyme. And then the probiotic, just increasing the gut flora is really vital and really critical to a good immune system. A lot of women suffer from a great of immune dysfunction during pregnancy, and that's not needful. There is a good factor in that she holds on to that baby when her immune function is slightly suppressed. But I really believe we can minimize that immune dysfunction if we're taking the probiotic and really.
We're already uncomfortable. Yeah. And you don't want to add to that. You want to create this healthy shield in your gut.
Indeed. And so the Terrazyme and the probiotics together really do facilitate digestion, assimilation of nutrients, elimination, and those are a lot of the discomforts we have during pregnancy. As that baby grows and fills up that uterine cavity and just kind of pushes everything else out of the way into every nook and cranny, it doesn't feel so good not to have that good digestion and elimination. And then the assimilation of nutrients is just critical to grow a healthy baby and keep a healthy mama. So really, really vital. So
Very good.
any questions or comments? Thoughts, recollections? Okay. Well, let's move on into reducing toxins in your body and from your environment. There's studies, and there's a link here, studies that show that babies' umbilical cord has been found to have 200 to 300 different toxins in it. So reducing our toxins is really critical, and I really love that doTERRA is mindful of that. That one of our stair steps in our wellness lifestyle pyramid is reducing toxins, and that all of our products, our extension products, are all geared towards that. So our skincare products, our hair care products are all geared towards reducing toxins. And I love that I can promote every product that doTERRA has as safe for my birthing, pregnant, lactating mothers and newborn babies. I love that. I really love that. And it gives credibility to the company for sure that they're so mindful.
And sometimes we're not aware. Because some people, they think, I'm going to super eat healthy and all these things. And they're not aware that they're spraying and cleaning their house with
toxic
things.
chemicals.
So it's good to remind people that everything is going to be part of your health. I mean, you're going to be smelling all that, and you're going to be wearing clothes with the laundry detergent that's got toxins. So, and then sometimes because we're so highly sensitive at that time, we have all these issues that it's unnecessary.
Indeed, unnecessary.
Yeah.
So your body knows how to heal itself as long as we support it. It is an incredible miracle how this body of ours works to really heal itself and regenerate itself. And so we need to just put good things in. And so when we have toxins, it really leads to more invaders. When we fill our body with toxins, we are much more prone to have fungus, bacteria, viruses. And so we really want to pay attention to getting rid of the toxins. And most women find that when they clean their body out, they experience more energy, more mental clarity. Their body functions more optimally. And you're shaking your heads because we've experienced this, haven't we? We've experienced that when we really nourish our body, we feel good. And it's like, when I put in my body last night, it was like, oh, that felt so good. It felt so good to eat clean. And again today, everything we ate today, for the most part, was really clean. As we went out to breakfast this morning, we were mostly eating in. But we went out to breakfast, and what looked good was that spinach egg white omelet. And I looked at all the pictures on the menu, and I just kept coming back. I wanted spinach. I wanted spinach. I wanted spinach. And so when we nourish our body, we feel good. And so we have the energy we need. And so, we're seeing a rampant problem in this day and age of infertility. And that was my struggle. For years, I struggled to get our babies here. And my husband and I were married for 8 years, went through lots of infertility treatment. I really don't talk about infertility. I talk about fertility now, because that's what we want. We don't want infertility. We want fertility. So let's talk about what we want. But as we struggled with that and went through all that Western medicine had to offer, not once during that time did I conceive. And when people ask me, what would I recommend for infertility? I'm going to go back to doTERRA's 30-day cleanse. I want them to start by getting rid of the toxins, getting them out of our body. And that is our focus in the month of April on my Creating a Healer in Every Home page. And I hope you'll visit there and go there, because that is our focus. And when we do a 30-day cleanse, how do you know when you need a cleanse? You just don't feel good. You feel sluggish, you feel overweight, you feel fatigue, you feel a lack of energy and a lack of zest for life in general.
Mental clarity.
Yeah. And that's a really good key that we need. Yeah. The skin shows it too. And so the 30-day cleanse periodically, and the best time to do that 30-day cleanse is right now with the change of seasons, going from winter to spring. And then again in the fall, going from summer to fall. Those are the best times to do a cleanse. And if you research that scientifically, it's well recognized that the change of the seasons is the best time to do a cleanse. So in pregnancy, the best forerunner before even considering getting pregnant. And certainly in a case where there's been the inability to conceive, or the stress of not being able to conceive at will, the best thing to do is to do a 30-day cleanse using doTERRA's products. It is a very fine, gentle program, but very efficient in what they're doing. And so this is really key.
So I have a couple of stories. One of my girlfriends, she didn't have a period for 3 years. She was very overweight, and we weren't even thinking of helping her with fertility. Although that's one of the things that she was concerned about, and she didn't tell me, but she said, "Hey, I need something for my weight." And I said, "Well, start with some citrus oils and then do the cleanse." But she started with just the citrus oils, and then she came back. I don't know how long, a month or two, and she said, "Hey, I have my periods back again." And she's like, "Wow." And that was just a couple of citrus oils that she was taking. And that's awesome, because she was able to have one son, and for years she just couldn't, and her son was 5 and she just couldn't fall pregnant again. And then she tells me, "Hey, I haven't had my period for 3 years." And I thought, wow. So the body really goes to shutdown mode, doesn't it? But now, when those toxins and the invaders are released from your body starts functioning optimally again. And another girlfriend recently, she went through 4 IVFs, whatever we call that session.
In vitro fertilization,
yeah. And she said, "Look, Jade, I spent all my money and it didn't work, hasn't worked." And I told her, I said, "Well, why don't we balance your hormones and cleanse you out?" And she just started with a few oils. And a couple of months later, she fell pregnant naturally. And she birthed a son just last year. And it was just wonderful to see, hey, something so simple and just subtle. You don't have to pay a heap of money and go through all of these special fanfare to heal your body.
Yeah,
so it's awesome. And with my sister, she's had allergies all her life, and she has lots of lethargy. She's always tired, and she takes days off work every month. And she said there wasn't a month that she didn't take time off work. And so I said, "Look, it seems like you need to cleanse. And if you're thinking of having a baby," because she just was newly married at that time, I said, "Well, maybe you and your husband should just both cleanse and help each other, support each other and do their cleanse." So, she took that to heart and she did it. She was very focused.
And her husband joined her.
They did it together. And there was a lot of emotional healing along with that. But when they were ready to have a baby, they fell pregnant like that. She said, "We almost didn't even try." Just boom. And she said, "Look, the whole pregnancy, she had so much energy and she wasn't sick the whole time. Not morning sickness, nothing. She was so healthy." And she was like, "This is surprising, because I'm healthier now as a pregnant woman than I was when I was, before I was pregnant." And that was just a very strong testament to that. This is true. Our body knows how to heal. Get rid of all the yuckies, and the body will communicate. The cells will communicate again and optimize its health. So amazing.
Yeah. So that pre-pregnancy cleanse is a really highly recommended.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would recommend that anybody that and it's rampant. So you all know somebody that's trying to have a pregnancy, that's working at conceiving and meeting. And I'll just say, having gone through that myself, it's really a devastating journey to see everybody else getting pregnant around you and not being able to get your family here. And so that cleanse is vital. And Stephanie Fritz, she's well known in the birthing community in doTERRA, and she recommends doing a cleanse every month until you conceive. Yeah. And she does it a little faster, but I'm really in tune with the 30-day cleanse and just trusting that your body needs that little extra time. So turn right around and repeat the cleanse again. If you do the 30-day cleanse as outlined, you're going to be 10, 20 days before you take that GX Assist again. That's a great amount of time. And so I really do highly recommend. Get those receptor sites, those hormone receptor sites cleaned off, get the toxins out of your body, and you will feel good during pregnancy.
Yeah,
and
it's
that's
amazing.
really key. Yeah.
I just want to ask a question. I know Rachel, you're on our call. I don't know if you want to, do you have any stories? Because Rachel, she does help women in pregnancy and birth, and so I know that you've got valuable experience there. I don't know if you unmute you here.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you, Rachel?
Good. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I guess I don't have any story specifically, but I've had a lot of success with moms you were talking about adding lemon oil to your water, and that has helped a lot with issues that we have here. We have a lot of pregnant moms who get kidney stones and have problems with their bladders, and that lemon oil has worked miraculously to help. Matter of fact, I just counseled a mom yesterday who was diagnosed with kidney stones, who was pregnant, to do the warm compresses on her kidneys and start with ingesting the lemon oil. And she did that and messaged me back that by the end of the day she was feeling much better and a lot of her symptoms had subsided. So, I specifically haven't worked with anybody that had fertility issues, but I was enthralled with your conversation about doing the 30-day cleanse. So I think I might be recommending that in the future.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I'm really excited about it. This one girl, she just cried and cried to me, and I felt like, I have something for you. She's like, Jade, this is my 4th time. And I'm like, okay, good luck. And then, the next month she comes up to me and she's like, nope, it didn't work. And I'm like, oh no. And then she just fell apart and she just cried. And I said, I got something for you. You want to try this? And she's like, anything, Jade, I can,
Yeah.
Like I
Right. Well, there is a substantial body of evidence out there linking infertility to toxic overload. So it's, it's a huge problem for all of us here in
makes sense,
America.
Rachel. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And for the men as well. We don't forget about the guys, because
That's correct. Yeah, that is correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because
that's why I'm investing for my brother-in-law. Do that cleanse too.
Yeah. Partners, I highly recommend that. And that desire to conceive is so innate in women. You know what Jade and I were sharing tonight. So I'm gonna just allude to Mother Eve for just a second, because Mother Eve, when she partook of the fruit in the Garden of Eden, she knew that the only way to progress was to partake of that fruit. She had the savvy to say, you know what, I'm not content in this state of naivete, whatever they were in. She wasn't content. And she knew that there was more. And we women come pre-programmed with that desire to bear children and to be mothers. And so sometimes when that blessing doesn't come, we are mothers to others' children. And my first 2 boys are adopted, and how grateful I am for the journey of that experience. I know those boys were supposed to be in our family. And after we got those 2 boys there, I carried my 7th pregnancy to term, and we got Matthew when I was 38 years old, and we got Benjamin when I was 40, and we squeaked Aaron in just before we turned 43 because he was 8 weeks early. And so I am also an advocate for those advanced maternal age mothers. It's a bunch of them. And so, what, these babies get to us when they need to get to us. And but it's through the grace of God, as well as our actions, doing all we can to clean up our bodies and to clean up our nutrition. We do have a responsibility there.
I really appreciate that, because sometimes they say you're more than 30, so you be careful, you're high risk, and you're like, oh, but it took me a while to get here.
That's right. That's right. And I just told the doctors, I knew enough at that point in time. I started working with childbearing women in 1985, and in my dreams when I was 11 years old. But in 1985 was when I graduated from nursing school and was hired as a labor and delivery nurse. And you know what? I knew that birthing was this incredible blessing and calling, and that it was a normal, natural, physiological experience. And I could talk on that all day long. So
it's not like a medical thing.
It's not a medical experience, and so we need to trust that our body knows how to do this. I know one thing I was going to say was when we are going through infertility or wanting to conceive and can't, what happens to our stress level? That goes up, and it mucks up the whole process even more.
Spirals, right?
Because the cortisol, which is the stressor hormones, then are uptaken by the progesterone receptor sites. And so then we have these receptor sites for progesterone that aren't getting fed with progesterone, and it's just really making a mess of everything. And so these mothers that are really struggling for infertility, we've got to just wrap our arms around them and help decrease their stress.
Yeah, well, that's really important to remember.
So, and the citrus oils are your best. Grapefruit's probably the number one for cleaning those receptor sites, but all the citrus oils like tangerine that we talked about tonight are going to help clean those hormonal receptor sites off. And so that's a real big key to all of this. So, what I love as we talk about, obviously you're all familiar with the On Guard products. What a great way to detoxify. Let's get rid of the cleaning supplies. Let's get rid of the antibacterial soaps that are full of all kinds of dangerous chemicals for our bodies. Let's get rid of all the propylene glycols, the sodium lauryl sulfates and sulfites, the triclosan. Let's get rid of all those known chemical toxins that really cause us stress on our bodies that are unneedful. And when our bodies have these kinds of toxins going into them on a regular basis, and we women are much more prone to that because we use more product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of skincare and hair care products.
So we're much more prone to those toxins. And so we've really got to clean it up. And doTERRA's done that for you. It makes it so easy. And when I first got started with doTERRA, I actually went to all of the executives. That was in the day when it was really they were easily accessible, and asked them outright, and asked Rob Young, who was the developer, the initial developer of the Lifelong Vitality Pack, asked him outright, is this safe for pregnant women and lactating women? That is my birthing client, or that is my clientele. And I cannot recommend a product that is not safe for those clientele. And I actually, before I asked them, I already knew the answer, because when I saw Peggy Smith's table at my nursing conference back in April of 2010, I knew immediately that I wanted everything on her table. And that's so, awesome. I had already had that conversation long before I asked the question, but I still wanted to ask each of the executives individually if these products were safe for my clientele.
So are you familiar with these products? Yep. And we use it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yep. Okay.
All of them.
All of them. That's right.
All of them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I didn't introduce you properly, Rachel. You are a doula now, right?
Yes, I am a birth and postpartum doula, a independent childbirth educator, a certified lactation consultant, and a lay midwife.
Awesome.
You do it all, Rachel.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, and she and her husband are awesome. And the grandparents, you're to how many kids?
2 and 1 that's on its way second week of May.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Yay.
Yep, and my daughter, who's having her second, had her first baby at home, and this one she'll have at home as well. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, indeed. And that's where birth should be.
Yes.
Yes, it should.
Not a medical problem. Yeah, excellent. I love it. See, you guys listening to this call, watching this video, we've got these 2 experts here, and this is what they're saying. So, how grateful. Okay, so supporting you during pregnancy.
And we've kind of talked about this already, that the baby usually get what they need first, okay? I have had some thoughts about that recently with the concerns and the all the studies that are coming forward with the expectation for more boy babies by the year 2020 to be affected by the autism spectrum disorders. And I've been really concerned about that. But you know what? When I was diagnosed many years ago with polycystic ovarian syndrome, I knew that I had a responsibility for cleaning up the nutrition in my family and for my posterity. And so, we have an important mission to share here. And getting rid of the toxins is really a key part. And so anytime that a mother's not being well nourished, she's going to have a less than healthy pregnancy. So that's really key. So we kind of talked about this, but when we talk about anxious feelings and worry, oh my goodness, does doTERRA have a solution for that? And the answer is, oh my goodness, yes. You know what? Where was I the other day? Oh, so I was in California last week for a leadership retreat, and during the course of the week, I enrolled the housekeeper of the home that we rented. And then I invited Joanne to host a class while I was still there that week, so I could kind of teach her how to share this with others and get within her circle of circle of influence. Yeah. And as we did those classes during the course of the week, her roommate was going to come to our class on Thursday night. And as Dee Dee was going to come to our class, her mother died Tuesday afternoon. And so Dee Dee was really grieving. And come Thursday night, she didn't want to show up. And I turned to Joanne and I said, go get Dee Dee. She needs to be here. We have a message for her and we have help for her as she works through the grieving process of losing her mother. And she cannot not be here. That's how I felt. That we had and her mother died the day that my father died 22 years ago. And so I had my own stuff going on, and I knew that we had solutions, and how grateful I am for our emotional supportive oils, our emotional aromatherapy oils especially. And so, you know what, mixing balance and wild orange and diffusing that really helps calm anxious feelings. And so anytime we're going through those emotional swings that we experience every day for the most part, the oils are there.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And
what did you say? What was your question?
Anyone? No? Okay.
All right.
Can I share?
Yes.
It just came to me. In the Vietnamese culture, when you're pregnant, the whole town protects you. Oh, that's my sister.
Hi, Jamie.
The whole town protects you from being sad or just anxiousness. So they have rules. You're not allowed to go to funerals. You're not allowed to, visit the sick. And just a few things, because they believe that how the mother carries the baby will shape the baby for life. So if you're stressed and you're anxious and you've got grief and you've got all of these things during pregnancy, it's going to affect that child.
And that baby most definitely feels those emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Most definitely
Yep.
experiences the emotions.
Yep. So I really didn't think much. I thought, these crazy people, all of these rules, until I learned about oils and energy and emotions, and I thought, that makes sense. Yeah. So
we have a responsibility, don't we?
Yeah.
To reach out to these mothers working to conceive and pregnant, and because their babies are feeling it there, and so we're shaping the next generation by how we care for these mothers.
And we have the skills and we have the tools now to manage those emotions.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So when we look at the little symptoms we feel in the first trimester, the second trimester, the third trimester of pregnancy, do we have an oil for that? And the answer is clearly yes, we do. I love that we have something to help them and whatever ails them. And so with morning sickness, what I love that we have the peppermint, the ginger, the digestin, and whether we open the bottle and just merely take off the lid and smell it, that may be sufficient. Or whether we put a drop on our back of our hand and lick, drop and lick, or put a drop on our tongue, or put a drop in a cup of water. It's really supportive of that mother. And we're seeing a lot more of this peppermint and ginger used together in anesthesia to prevent anesthesia nausea. And it's very effective for pregnant women too. And so pull out your oils, give them some support. And if you want to put some peppermint and ginger together in a sample bottle and add some fractionated coconut oil to take down the potency, that's a great way to sample a mother that's struggling with some morning sickness. Their nose is so sensitive that it doesn't take a lot to calm that nausea or calm whatever they're experiencing down. And sometimes it drops a little too much. And so going ahead and mixing them together and adding some fractionated coconut oil is sometimes a great way to sample them. Yeah.
Yep.
And then with rest and sleep, that's so important. And when a mother is first pregnant, my husband always knew when I was pregnant, and I had a lot of pregnancy losses, but he always knew when I was pregnant because I would just fall asleep at random. I remember one day we were laying the paver stones for our front sidewalk, our front walk into our house, and he sent me inside for something, and I never returned. And he found me asleep on the bed. I don't remember what happened. I just remember he found me asleep on the bed and said, hey, we can figure that out. And you know what? He always knew I was pregnant because of the fatigue. And when a mother is feeling tired with the demands of pregnancy, she just needs to really honor that. But we have some oils to help her sleep. And like I said, if she gets on that cleanse before pregnancy and she's nourishing her body well and she's on the Lifeline Vitality Pack, this fatigue almost goes away. And it's not really an issue. And so that's really a key factor. And then we talked about water swelling and water retention, and adding a little bit of cypress to those citrus oils in your water. Not drinking cypress, but rubbing your legs down with some cypress really increases the circulation. And so if there's a lot of water retention, that's a really great way. Adding the bergamot or the lemon oil with your cypress, topically with some fractionated coconut oil. Don't go sunbathing. Don't go to the tanning bed. You shouldn't be doing that during pregnancy anyway, but at any rate, adding that to rubbing your legs towards the heart, from the foot towards the heart is a really great way to help with that. And another thing that I'm going to emphasize here is exercise. When you are exercising during pregnancy, that is so key to get the circulation going and to get the lymphatic pump going as well. And when we're walking, we're pumping that lymphatic system, and it's getting rid of the toxins as well as promoting circulation. and then adding your citrus oils to your water to help get them out of your body is a really great way to take care of that water retention and discomfort there.
That's
so
awesome. That's good. Oh, lots of things I learned today. Welcome, Jamie. This is my sister.
Hi, Jamie.
I was talking about her earlier.
Sorry, I was making tails for my piggy costumes.
Piggy. So yeah, I think we had experience with water retention, right, Jamie? Towards the end of pregnancy. What was your experience?
Okay, so I also tend to get leg cramps as well when I had the swelling around the ankles, and the swelling would be more so at night because I guess because of the movement and stuff during the day. But I asked my husband, Stephen, to massage my legs with lemon oil and aroma touch every single night. So the swelling would go away, and as well as help with the circulation.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Aroma Touch is another oil we didn't mention, but it has cypress in it.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
And a great one for any kind of inflammation if there's more than.
Yeah. And we elevated the legs too, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. Hey. All right. So we're going to move on to the last few things.
Great. So relaxing during labor and birth. You know what? The oils are invaluable in the birthing room. And I never support a birth without my diffuser and a number of oils. And I always
say what you said today. You know, she said, I can't imagine help birthing without oils anymore.
Yeah.
It's an
now, if they're in, I have them in 3 locations so that they're in my purse, they're in my doula bag, they're in the car, so that there's no chance to ever be without them.
Yeah. And so, you know, Rachel, I'm going to pull you in here for just a minute with your permission.
Sure, go ahead.
What are your favorite oils to use during labor and birth to promote relaxation?
Well, at almost every birth, I diffuse Serenity.
Mm-hmm.
That is really my go-to for the diffuser. I also carry lavender, wild orange, clary sage, peppermint, balance, and then some of my own blends. So I've used some of the blends that Stephanie Fritz, the Essential Midwife, has on her website, and then a few of my own. I also carry helichrysum, geranium, frankincense. It's quite a large contingency of oils.
Rachel, I tried to make a little small sample kit.
Yeah, well, they're all in little small roll bottles and or the little smaller. Yeah. I don't carry full size bottles with me.
It's so hard to decide what to put in that little pregnancy.
But there's so many different situations that require a different oil that I have that nice wide variety to help in, you know, if it's an emotional issue, if it's something physically going on, like labor is stalled, or if, you know, some mothers just feel better having the citruses, that's more relaxing to them. Others are the lavender, you know, the warmer oils are more relaxing. So it's very personalized too. We do a lot of smelling and testing before labor in our prenatal visits.
Amen. I do the very same thing. I want to know what aromas they like.
Correct.
they gel with and are affected by. And you know, the worst thing is to pull out an aroma that a pregnant mother or laboring mother does not like. That's the kind of
no, yeah.
Will start manifesting a dislike very prominently, right? And so it's really key to find out what she likes. But you're right, the oils are invaluable during labor and birth for certain. And so when we're talking about, you know, what you have in your bag, you know, very often we were talking today about when labor pauses, you know, that we need to honor that. And usually a mother needs rest. She doesn't she doesn't need to be augmented, or she doesn't need to be pushed along in her birthing process. She needs to be honored. Yeah, she needs to just rest. And so Jade was sharing her story of pregnancy with the twins, labor with the twins, and how her pregnancy stalled. You know, and that's a medical term, stalling labor. And I said, what did you do? And she said, I just rested, and I was so grateful. And then I said to her, and when you woke up from your nap, what happened? And I knew the answer already. You know, the answer is labor began again. Yeah. And she was fine, and she did not need any pushing and prodding along. When a laboring mother rests during labor, she just needs a nap. And that's what we need to, but in the hospital setting, sometimes that's really tough. if they are not honoring that. And that's where that clary sage comes in so handy. The clary sage in the first trimester usually smells awful. And the clary sage in the last trimester usually smells divine. And so when people ask me what oils are safe during pregnancy, I say, what oils does mother like the aroma of? If she takes off the lid and she goes, oh gosh, if she does that, put the lid back on and set it aside for a while. That does not mean it's dangerous during pregnancy. It means not right now.
I love it. I love you guys saying that, because sometimes people are like, I'm not going to use oils now that I'm pregnant. And what oils are dangerous? What do I have to avoid? And I'm all, my friends are doulas and they use pretty much all of them, but depends on why you're using it.
Yeah.
And you hear it from them, right? So you can't tell them what is dangerous. It's just
no,
what
but there's so much fear online with regards to essential oils. And you got to remember that all that stuff was put out there long before doTERRA's certified pure therapeutic grade oils came around. Okay, so when we're messing around with synthetic oils that have been adulterated, they are not safe during pregnancy.
All of them.
Beware. They are not safe during pregnancy when we're working with a bunch of synthetics. That is like toxin and poisonous toxin to a pregnant mama. So there's a lot of stuff online that really does not apply when you're working with the most pure and potent essential oils. That's really key. And so I love
how you guys say ask them and test it with your visits.
Yeah. So we don't need to worry about toxicity. Their nose will tell us. Not now. Okay. And so that's good to know. So at any rate, when we're talking about relaxation again, some of my favorites, when she's going through transition. Now, some people think that's the most painful part of labor. And the reality is, what does transition mean? Transition is not the painful part of labor. That is a change from the thinning and opening of the cervix to, oh my goodness, now it's time to nudge baby down and out into your arms. And there's a whole different mechanism that happens with that. And when a woman is moving from that thinning and opening phase of the cervix to that time to bear down, she has a surge of adrenaline. And that surge of adrenaline, if she's not prepared for it, will throw her into the fight or flight response. And we need to prepare for that. We need to prepare her for that. We need to be there to support her through that. She just needs a little more encouragement, a little more support, a little more emotional attention, a little more safeguarding of the environment. She needs to have our arms wrapped around her and helping her on and helping her know that you got this. You're so close. Baby's almost here. You're doing it. You're doing so well. And we need to just really encourage her. And sometimes a change of position is really key. And when a mother says, I'm done, I'm not doing this, I just want to go home, I want to be done with this, that's that fight or flight response coming out. And we just need to say, okay, well, if you're done, then let's at least get up and go to the bathroom first. And as soon as she squats over that toilet, she knows what she needs to do next, and that's what I want her to feel anyway. And so it's a really great time. Yeah. It's a really great time to pour on the balance and the frankincense to help her be grounded again and step back into her power. When she does that, she births beautifully, and so that's a really great time to pull in those oils. But if we've asked her up front what oil she really likes, the aromas of, we might be pulling out one of those. Okay, I had a
that's typically what I do. Yeah, is if they've have something they really love, that's the time that I turn the relaxing diffuser off and use maybe a Kleenex with a little bit of oils on it or a cotton ball and put it up by her pillow just so that the scent is there but not too overpowering it.
Yeah. So the citrus oils are good, but the sandalwood is great. Cedarwood, anything, vetiver, if she really likes it up front. Yeah. So anything she needs to do to, here's my husband, Jay.
When in doubt, use bergamot.
Yeah. That's a really great one for stress. And that would be a really great one to add during that time of change.
I think we use citrus bliss, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use citrus bliss for
so
you.
Citrus oils are great.
Yeah.
Elevating the mood and helping her know that she can go on. Yeah.
I was like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to go home.
That's right. You can relate to that, Jamie.
I heard that before.
When you're pregnant, there is no reason not to have your spouse give you a leg massage with bergamot oil. There is nothing better than a leg massage with bergamot.
Yeah, that goes to, you have to ask the spouse, because sometimes women don't want to be touched. Go away from me.
This is true.
It's your fault.
But I'm just giving you my experience
Debbie,
as a professional.
what oil should a woman use when they want to kill their husbands? I think that's a great question, don't you think?
Or
Yeah,
there are different strychnine and arsenic derivatives that doTERRA does not carry. Well, I'm just letting you know, doTERRA does not manufacture these oils for a very, very good reason.
I thought there was an oil for everything.
Yes, husband be gone.
Husband be gone. What would that be, Jane? What's your thought there? Husband be gone.
Oh, oregano.
Cedar wood.
I think it would be Clary Calm, to be honest with you. I think it would be Clary Calm because it's actually, or Whisper, it's actually the woman who needs to be.
Well, or whatever.
You're talking about
whatever
husbands
husband like.
encouraging their wives, right?
Yeah.
And my husband's way of encouraging me is telling me to push harder.
There you go.
So,
Take it over and push it yourself, right?
Yeah, push.
You know, there is a chance there for empathy. Have your husband go to a big food restaurant, eat lots of food, not drink any water for 3 days, and then in 3 days tell him to push really hard. So he has this concept of empathy because most men don't really understand that. And men are wimps when it comes to smooth muscle problems anyway. So you're not going to get much.
Jamie, you should be a personal challenge. I'm going to find the husband's non-oil blend, okay? I'm going to find
Knock them
something
out and
that might
sleep.
help. Yeah.
Yeah,
But honestly, my gut was Clary Calm or Clary Sage or
early ones.
the Whisper,
Yeah.
the hormonal blends.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's a fun
And you do
conversation. There is an
massage,
oil for that. I'm
the
sure.
perineum massage. You do that too. So
Yeah.
we've got oils for that. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, there's an oil for everything, and you know, after that, when that baby's actually crowning, Stephanie Fritz recommends pouring solution of fractionated coconut and oil and helichrysum and lavender, and I'll go over the perineum. And you can use Immortella instead of any of those with the fractionated coconut oil, and that's a great perineal spray afterwards if she needed any repair. So that combination, fractionated coconut oil and Immortella, is probably my favorite.
So
But
how's
before
that
Immortella
crown?
was available,
Yeah, as it crowns,
as it
she's like
crowns.
spritzing it.
yeah,
Wow.
because it actually minimizes
The tearing.
bleeding and bruising and swelling, and it's significant. It's significant. And then, as Rachel said, you know what, helichrysum just is a must-have in your birthing bag.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely a must-have. I have used that so many times for postpartum bleed when they're bleeding way more than we want them to, and it's really highly effective. I really like to apply it during labor. It's a uterine tonic. And so I really like to apply it during labor when she's about 7 to 9 centimeters. Applying it pubically and in the small of her back is a really great topical application. And the smell is pretty strong of helichrysum. So during labor, I'm still going to recommend dilution because that key mama's knows.
Yeah.
She's going to say, oh my gosh, get that out of here.
She's like a hound.
She is like a hound dog. But the helichrysum applied in late labor is really a good application. And then should she start to bleed, a drop under her tongue every minute or so
Wow.
until we got it under control. And I don't know how
That would have been good to know.
I don't know how compliance feels about that little comment, but
I think
you're
I
sharing-
switched afterwards, but not during.
yeah,
Yeah. So you're sharing stories, experiences. That's
exactly
all.
right. There you go.
You're not telling.
And I
everybody to
have
do
about 3 midwives that finally, it took me a long time because they're so concerned when we're getting into a heavy bleed. They're so concerned about not stopping the bleeding. But let me tell you, the medicinals they use do not immediately stop the bleeding. And the helichrysum does. And then I've got other tricks if the helichrysum doesn't work. So I'm working with a mother right now who's had 2 postpartum bleeds and is pregnant with her 3rd baby. And we've had some long talks, and her doctor's not yet on board with our talks. And so we'll see what happens. But it's certainly something I can apply in late labor as her doula topically with her permission. And then, you know what, we've got it there afterwards if we need it. And I'm prepared to use it. So anyway, but
I like the anointing of the babies.
oh my goodness, yes. And so the anointing of the babies is beautiful. And it's symbolic too. When a baby is born, this is Debbie Gordon's personal appearance. That should be one of the most spiritual experiences of a baby's and a couple's lives as they welcome that baby into the world. And labor and birth should be the same way. It should be a spiritual experience, in my personal opinion. But when that baby comes out, to reconnect them with their divinity, using the oils of frankincense and myrrh
That's frankincense.
and balance and Melissa. is
Frankincense on the
magnificent.
crown and myrrh on the umbilical cord after it's
After the delayed cord clamping.
delayed cord clamping. Very important.
Yeah, very important. And then that connects that myrrh oil really helps heal mother-baby separation. So anytime a baby's been separated from the mother due to a NICU experience or due to a surprise, a special circumstance, we need to get that myrrh oil on mama and baby. And both of them suffer significant emotional trauma when they're separated at birth. And so that myrrh oil is really healing for that. And that frankincense oil just really heals that paternal divinity, connects them. They just came, in my opinion, from heaven. They just came from God's presence. And so adding that frankincense to maintain that deep connection to their paternal divinity, and that myrrh for their maternal divinity is really critical. The balance is a beautiful thing on their spine and feet.
Yep,
It's kind of funny if you watch for it. Now, I don't do this right after birth. I do not. I wait till the baby has smelled mother and dad, till the baby has breastfed. I want the baby to recognize mother's scent first, and then we do the anointing. Okay, and so that's really critical. I don't want them to bond with the aroma of the oils. I want them to bond to mama and daddy's smell, and then do the anointing with the oils. But it's a beautiful experience, and it's funny when you apply the balance, their spine and feet. There's just this big sigh, and I always say, "Welcome, welcome. We're so glad you're finally here." And then applying Melissa to their feet. Just
so watching the baby sigh.
Yeah, watching the baby sigh is just a really beautiful experience. Cool. Like, welcome. That was a big journey. Yeah. And allow them to tell their story. When they're crying or fussing or telling their story, I say, and tell me more. And yeah, that was a big journey, and that took effort on your part, didn't it? That was a lot of work, and for mama too. And so
that's awesome.
It makes it a beautiful experience. The Melissa, that oil of light to really keep them connected to their divinity is really a critical factor. And so
sounds like you guys are busy. You're like, okay, now Melissa. Okay, that's great. So have you had any experiences where you saw it was beautiful, that spiritual moment with the family?
Are you asking me?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Not related to your question, but do you normally dilute the frankincense and myrrh, or you just put it
That's
on?
a good question, Jamie. Really good question. Unless it's pre-diluted before you go in the labor room, my answer is no. But I never use a drop. Okay, I'm going to take off the cap. I'm going to touch the top of the bottle, and with the frankincense, anoint the crown of their head. Touch the top of the bottle for the myrrh, and I'm going to apply it around their umbilical cord. Now the balance, I do 2 swipes. I do 1 touch for the spine and 1 touch for the feet. I do 2 swipes on the balance. And the Melissa oil, that one's just really, the viscosity is really, it's really a thin oil. And my Melissa oil, when I take off the cap, there's a lot there. So I don't need much. I don't need much. I don't need a drop for sure. Okay. So really great question. If you have time to dilute it, dilute it. Take your little sample bottles pre-diluted if you want. But I use the oil straight so often for the rest of my family that I don't really go to the labor room with pre-diluted oils. So good question though. But yes, it's a big, big aroma for a newborn. And their most intact sense, their most well-developed sense at the time of birth is their sense of smell. And that's, again, why I wait to do the oil anointing until after they have smelled their mama and their daddy and breastfed and been guided to the breast by the smell of the amniotic fluid and the smell of the colostrum. So I don't want to interfere with those aromas. Their sense of smell is really key.
Well, that's awesome to learn. Lots of new things I learned today. Yeah, but we were good. We did frankincense, myrrh, and balance. So
yeah, that's a really great start.
So, what about you, Rachel? Do you do this too?
For all of the oils I use with infants, I typically dilute to a 1% solution. That's just what I feel comfortable doing. So that's 1 drop per 2 tablespoons of usually fractionated coconut oil, unless the parents want something else, like olive oil or apricot kernel oil or arnica oil or so I have those all pre-made and ready to go. So I have the frankincense, the myrrh. I always carry DigestZen, which I don't dilute because we have so many babies that have issues with, gastrointestinal distress and reflux, and a little bit of that on their big toe. It works miracles.
Yeah.
For helping calm any GI problems that they may have.
Very good.
Awesome. Good to know. Excellent.
Mhm.
So now, Jamie, what are you going to do with the next baby? You've seen two different opinions, and I love this because now you rely on your own motherly intuition, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent.
I'm just learning this for other people.
Look how she got out of that one.
I'm helping others.
That's closed.
Okay. So helping babies.
Any other questions or comments, thoughts?
One thing that you guys didn't, maybe you talked about it before I got here because I was out doing appointments tonight, but I use essential oils in all of my placenta encapsulations as well.
What do you do with your encapsulations?
Well, the placenta soaks for a brief amount of time in cilantro. So I put a couple drops of cilantro into like an ionized water bath and soak it. And depending on the types of medications they used in labor or any conditions the mom has, I might use some frankincense also. And then usually a little bit of frankincense, just a like swipe of the bottle, similar to what you described, that I kind of massage onto the placenta before I put it in the dehydrator.
Very good, very good. Now I steam my placentas in lemon and ginger.
Oh, that's
I add about 6 or 8 drops of lemon and ginger to the water bath.
Get the
And
camera
then,
to
yeah.
face you. Yeah, Rachel, because we only see your head and the forehead.
oh, I don't know. I didn't realize I was on video. Sorry. Is that better?
There you go. Now we can see it.
The ginger.
Ginger and lemon. And that's Chinese medicine to
Yes,
detoxify.
very.
And
Yeah, and my method is I do all of mine raw, so I don't steam.
we should compare notes, Rachel,
Yeah.
on placental encapsulation sometime.
That's
That's awesome.
And,
And the steaming method is great. I just like doing it, the raw, and I do them really quickly, so there's no delay. So you come home with the placentas and they're being prepared immediately.
Amen.
So they don't.
That's what I do too.
okay.
Yeah, that's really critical. I want it back to the mother ASAP.
Oh yeah, within 24 hours maybe.
That's what I say too. 24 hours or less is my goal.
Yeah, well, I have to dehydrate for about 24 hours, so as fast after that as I can get them back to mama.
Oh, that's great. Look at these women. They're awesome.
And probably the raw takes a little bit longer to dehydrate than the steamed.
It does. It's yes, you have to. It's usually about a 24-hour process in the dehydrator. Mm-hmm.
So how do you like this conversation, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah, this is really
It's wonderful.
This is a whole nother conversation. We're talking the benefits
But this is
of
our
ensuring,
This is for babies' health too.
Yeah.
And hey,
and mother's health.
you know what? I hooked Jamie up with the placenta encapsulation. So we did that too.
It
We really
ensures a
appreciate it.
wonderful postpartum experience.
Yeah.
Oh, it really does.
Yeah.
And the worst part about it is you can't compare a postpartum experience without your placenta encapsulation or one with your placenta encapsulation.
That's correct.
So it's just better to do it, right?
Better to do it.
And you can take notes as in, this person experiences all of these things and, and that's how you can see it. Look, 10 people and then there's 10 great results. So,
Sure, more energy, less mood swings, better breastfeeding. It's, the list goes on and on of all the wonderful benefits.
Yep. So you guys listening to this call and watching this video, just do a little bit more research and hopefully these guys will have them on their websites one
There
day.
you go. There you go. We're working on it.
Yeah.
So, but pregnancy really should be a wonderful time.
Yeah.
It should be a wonderful, healthy time. Pregnancy is not a medical event, and a mother is not sick when she is pregnant if she takes good care of herself.
Yep.
And so we really need to wrap our arms around this generation that's upcoming and entering into those childbearing years.
Yes.
And really start to educate them.
And think in a different way. Awesome.
Yeah, they need to prepare
Mm-hmm.
for pregnancy.
All right, so we'll talk a little bit more. We do diffuse a lot of on guard afterwards, especially when you have visitors, right? So they can bring gifts, but we don't want them to bring germies to.
And they can wash their hands with the On Guard foamy hand soap before they touch the
the baby.
Yeah.
So that's really important
Yeah.
and respectful. So, and then we do lots of serenity from mum and baby to sleep. So that's wonderful. we love just having such a simple tool, but it's so powerful at the same time.
Absolutely, yes.
Mhm. Well, guys, we learned so much today. I learned about, the protein intake and what it does to your body if you don't have enough, and all sorts of wonderful little tips here. So if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and comment below this post. You can find this post on jadebolden.com/pregnancy, and we'll start a conversation, and hopefully we'll add to the community. And if you have experiences, add to it so that people can learn from it and hopefully benefit from your experiences. Well, thank you, ladies. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Debbie, for being
You're welcome.
and sharing your experiences. So Eleanor and Jamie and Dana and I, we learned lots of things, right? And the people that are listening to our podcast and are watching our videos, thank you for joining us. And we look forward to talking to you next time. All right. Any last words,
Thank you, everyone.
Don't forget about Jade's wonderful ebook on pregnancy.
Yeah,
And that's super valuable information in there.
Oh, thank you. Yes. So get you started on the right path. And if you're in the Ohio area, Canton, right? You're still in Canton?
Yep.
Look Rachel up, and Debbie's in Utah, Draper, Utah.
My website's full of information. It's neartoyoudoula.com.
neartoyoudoula.com, and Debbie, nurturinginstinct.
Nurturinginstincts.com.
Yep, nurturing. Yep.
That's excellent. All right, guys. Hopefully we'll get more doulas like this and get the word out to your friends, so everyone can have great births and pregnancies and healthy babies. All right. So thank you.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.